We'll get there. Cool. I think you need to click live on the Facebook one, Ahmed. Hello.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
I think we are live. So if you're joining me today, obviously, first things first, thank you. It's been a long time since I've been live on my YouTube channel, so obviously great to be here. And the whole point is we're going to be doing some training that we've done previously in the Amazon FBA War Room to support Amazon sellers on Q4. 21 things that you need to scale profit, scale your business in Q4. So important. So before we jump on, also, I'm just going to make sure we're all set up and everything. So I think we're streaming not only to YouTube, but also we're doing, Ahmed, we're doing your Facebook. Are we live in your Facebook?
I can't see the live yet.
Okay, cool. I think you've got to do it in like the back of house settings, click live, you know, in the setup tab, and then it will go because now we're streaming. So that's really, really important.
Oh, yeah. We are live.
So we're figuring it out, aren't we? This is the important thing. So 2 seconds, live video, cool, audience, public, next. That's good. I think we're live, so that's cool. And 2 seconds, I'm just checking everything here. So obviously, if you're here, do drop a comment down below. Obviously, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, I'll be able to see you. Ahmed has very kindly offered to actually, should we say, take the Facebook comments and put them into the comments here. So if you've got them, do drop your questions down below, and obviously we're going to do that. But I think the one thing which we'll just kind of touch upon before we jump into any training about Q4, and I've got a screen share and I'm going to go through like a whole step-by-step process you're going to go. It'll probably take about 25, 30 minutes. I ran this through with the Amazon FBA War Room training yesterday, which was really, really helpful. And so for you guys, I think, you know, the first question or the first point I'll kind of talk about before we jump into the training is obviously what's happened with Amazon yesterday. I mean, some big things have happened, some big changes that have happened, really affected a lot of sellers. I've seen sellers who are like questioning whether they should sell on Amazon and what's going on. Ahmed, I don't know if you want to just quickly talk about like what happened yesterday. We've got brands being gated, big brands, and also as well the policy changes on Amazon. Do you want to just quickly highlight about that and talk about it?
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to fix the live in the group. 1 second. Yep. For some reasons, we are not live in the group.
Okay.
When I click on the event, I can see the live, I can see the video, but I can't see it in the group. Sorry.
That's all right. Just click go. Click go. That's, I think you click say go live. That's it. That's all right. It's all right. We'll get there. So if anyone's watching, obviously yesterday we had Amazon made a really big update to a lot of stuff. So the whole idea was that they gated, off the top of my head, I know kind of like 6 or 7 brands that they gated. We're talking like Funko, we're talking Lego. There's a couple of other brands which I know, Kevin Murphy. There's some other beauty brands that have gone, but all of these brands have, you know, Lego and Funko are some really, really big brands that people are trying to sell on, which I think is really like, wow, that's like, you know, that's affected a lot of people's businesses. And I've seen, you know, I think I saw today, a friend of mine shared a post that someone does, I think it's where they do 7 figures a year. They have 2,000 Lego listings. And as of right now, they've just been, you know, they've lost all of that. So it's like all of that stock. And they are literally like 90% Lego, which is absolutely crazy. So obviously a really, really big kind of effect there that a lot of people, and if you've been affected, drop me a comment down below and obviously just let me know. We've got a few people obviously joining in now, but I think the idea is this has had a big effect. And the one thing that, you know, should we say we've always done in our business is try and risk diversify, like not saying that we'll get off Amazon, we're still continuing, but also just making sure that we're not too heavy in any one brand, because these things do happen. We've seen it. I think last year around December time, what we've seen is that, we started to see beauty started getting more and more, should we say, restrictive. Clinique, for example, was a big problem. That caused us a big issue. And the idea was that what we were doing is saying, hey, this whole kind of category, beauty, is starting to get restricted, gated, and this is causing us risk, which is a big issue. And then on top of that is to say that we said, well, actually, not only do we need to probably think about getting out of beauty, and we have now, we're pretty much 99% out of beauty. We've got a couple of products just still selling through. But also as well, we looked at all the other products we're selling and saying, hey, actually, this is causing us problems. So there's potential risk here. So we can't be exposed to any one brand too much. So we try to keep our brands below like 10% of listings. So in any one brand, ideally 20% at the worst if it's a really good product. But we also, those products were a bit heavy. So we say, for example, a lot of listings. And I'll tell you how to check your listings in a minute. those products where we do stock quite a lot, we also make sure there is another channel that we can sell on if we get gated or if there's a big problem. So like Walmart, eBay, for example, or we have those things coming out. So just be mindful of that. How are you getting on, Ahmed? How's you getting on the Facebook group? He's not having a good day. Oh, you're alive? You're muted, mate, I think.
Sorry, I clicked on the event. I can see on the next page, I can see us. I can see the live, but I can't click on go live. Like I click on go live and
interesting. Okay.
I can see the screen on all this, but
that's right. Do you want me to see if I can do it from my side? And if you want to talk about what's happened for you and your business?
Yes, please.
Go for it. Tell me about what happened yesterday for you.
Okay, cool. So actually it's not cool, but yesterday, like many other sellers, maybe hundreds of thousands of sellers, we started receiving emails being gated in different brands like Olay, Lego, Funko, Mattel. These 3 brands were a big hit for me. I went quite deep in Funko, very deep. And not only I went deep, I have a lot of stock in inventory, but I just placed some big orders because I said, Q4 here, Christmas, and in the end, Funko is a really great, at least was a great brand for me. I think this is happening every single Q4. I think during the Q4, we see most of the Section 3, most of the gatings, most of the violations. And of course, I started posting on Twitter. I started posting on LinkedIn, in all sorts of Facebook communities to see what's happening. I expected in the beginning to be a glitch because the emails were coming one after the other. I said this at one point. I said, it might be a glitch because if you remember, we had a similar situation not long time ago where we received some emails where we got gated in Chanel, Vichy, a few other brands, and then we received maybe next few days we received some emails saying, "Oh, sorry, ignore the email" or something like that. We apologize for the mistake. But in the meantime, we dropped the prices and we sold so much at a negative profit. But at least, when we saw the emails from Amazon saying that was a glitch, we just increased the prices. But after not long, they just gated us. But we expected these brands to be gated in the end. I think we need to be very careful with the big brands, especially now during the Q4, not to go too deep. And now I need to find a solution with all this stock that I haven't stranded. I will have to liquidate them somewhere, but it's part of the business. I'll do something
interesting. There's a few sellers I know, and I'm not going to name any names, but they've actually said they can still sell those brands. It's really weird. Yeah. So it's like, sometimes you get this, and I'm suspecting that they might come off like in a few days' time, that they get removed or something. But they're saying like, hey, we can still sell it. I'm like, oh, interesting. So very, very interesting. And I think also as well on the flip side is to say that, Amazon's super frustrating where we've seen this before. They've done massive and then they've repealed it. And it's like, someone check the emails, like what's going on? This is people's businesses and livelihoods. It is frustration, but I think it does highlight the fact that we need to make sure we're just being mindful that this can happen and having backup ways to sell. I mean, for you, you've got lots of stock. Where are you looking at selling it? What's your kind of avenues that you're thinking about so far? I know we spoke about this yesterday.
I don't know at the moment. I have some people who could sell my stock on eBay, Walmart, even on Amazon, but it's too early for me. At the moment, I have my admin doing an audit to see exactly every single brand, to see exactly what we have in stranded. And because we have a lot of these brands in inbound as well, and on the way to Amazon. So maybe tomorrow I will have the whole situation, and then I will take a decision and see where I can sell this in the best way possible.
Cool. No, I absolutely love it. I love it. Just to let you know, I'm now live in your community, so got that working. Woohoo! Happy days. So if people are joining right now. I just want to say, obviously, in Ahmed's community, a big thank you to that. The whole point behind today is to do some training with you guys for Q4. Why? Because we do this training every single week, training like this every single week. And I'm literally going to be doing training like this. And it takes about 20, 30 minutes. I want to share with you. It's about 21 things that you want to be thinking about for Q4. It's just going to really make a difference. And we do this every single week in the Amazon FBA War Room, which is Ahmed and I's community on the school platform. We are the #1 paid community for Amazon FBA. So I'll talk about that a bit later, but I want to make sure you're getting value from this. And the whole point, and I'm going to run this session right now, whether it be on the YouTube channel or in Amazon's or Ahmed's group, is to do a 20-minute, 25-minute training session, really bullet point, get in there, get the information you need quick, not going to spend too long around it. And then we'll do Q&A afterwards. Now, the one difference I will make is that normally when we run this training or we're training like this, we do it on like a Google Meet rather than like this kind of format. So when we do the Q&A afterwards in the normal war room, you'll actually be able to turn your camera on, turn your mics, have a conversation back and forth, which is really useful. Whereas when we do these, it's not so engaging because obviously you're there having to type. So that's a bit like, So obviously, if you guys have got questions during this training, drop your questions down or comments down below. But I will just kind of quickly jump back onto the point because I appreciate a lot of us we're really affected by this right now. So the two big things that happened yesterday are lots of brands have been gated. Ahmed's been massively hit by those brands. Ahmed, just quickly repeat back. I appreciate we've only just joined your community and they want to hear how have you been affected by the brand gatings?
Yes. So yesterday we received some emails where we got gated in L'Oreal, Funko, Olay, Kevin Murphy, Mattel. I'm not sure if I'm missing something, but some few big brands. We got like few hours actually. Yeah, it says, so we received yesterday for today, but it was about 9 p.m. And after midnight, boom, everything is flooded, if I'm not wrong. Big amount of money, huge amount of money. Unfortunately, I went very deep in these brands because I was selling special Funko. I was selling very well. And the second one was Mattel, which I was selling very, very well for quite a long time. And, when you sell a brand for a very long time and you see it's working well, you start going deeper and deeper, especially if you love toys. And part of the business now, I need to do an audit to see exactly the stock that I have stranded, and then I'll take a decision and see where I can sell it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So also, Ahmed, if you want to know, we're now live on my Instagram channel as well. So streaming everywhere. So if I could just ask Ahmed to do a huge favor for me while I go through this training, grab the comments from the Facebook group, put them in the chat, and obviously I'll answer them as well at the end. So for me, lucky enough, I'll just say this, I was not affected by the gating at all. That was not a problem for me. We were not selling those brands. Number two, I said it earlier on, go on to Keeper, look at your own storefront on Keeper, and it will show you the brand distribution you've got. For us, we really try to get some of it, the key that we try and get everything below 20%, ideally 10% in any one brand. This is really the number of listings, not asset value, but it is just helpful for you to see how much exposure you've got to any one brand. Why? I said it earlier on, I say it again. About a year ago, we started seeing beauty was getting more and more restrictive, so we started moving away from beauty. And then number two was the fact that because what we saw with beauty, Clinique, when it was like, oh my God, we said, well, other brands might do this. So we have to just be careful about how exposed we are to any one brand. And also as well, whenever we do decide to go deep into a brand, we need to have a resell option. So where are we going to distribute it if, we get kicked off for whatever reason? And what we just saw was that beauty was incredibly hard to sell outside of Amazon at the volumes we were looking at. So we diversified out of that. And actually the business now is better than it's ever been. And I'm really happy for it. But it's just that's one thing that we did and changed. And I shared that with a lot of people that I work with. But for you guys, have a look at Keeper, look at your brand distribution. On there, it does tell you what's going on. And then just look at those ones that you're selling a lot on and say, hey, maybe I shouldn't be selling this much, or maybe I should be thinking about de-risking that, not buying so much there, just in case what happened yesterday happens again. And the other thing, obviously, we heard yesterday was about bundles. Now, she said the bundle policy has changed. It looks like unless the manufacturer creates a bundle, so if you think a 12-pack of crisps, for example, that's technically a bundle. If you sell that, that's fine. But if you've created the bundle and the manufacturer doesn't have that bundle option on their website or on their product range, then really it looks like that's going the way of the fairies. That's going to be shut down. So it's not immediate. Amazon is going to email you. So I think it's going to take a long time before that comes in. But interesting enough, it does look like bundling as we know it, should we say putting, white label bundles, putting packs together, even if you're not putting in like the pen or the recipe card, like, all of that will eventually, that's going to look like it's going to disappear. So Amazon is a dynamic changing place, and there's a lot that needs to happen to support you or like to learn and also to help you de-risk and manage it. And, Ahmed and I are obviously networking with lots of sellers, sharing what we're doing, seeing what's going on in the marketplace and sharing that. So today I'm going to be going through some training, 21 things that you really need to scale your profits in Q4, supporting you. I'm going to jump into it now. Really what I'm going to do is 20 minutes of this. It's going to be very bullet point support you guys. I'll jump onto the screen share, talk it through. We'll go through some keeper charts to things to look for. And then drop your questions and we'll do a Q&A session afterwards. And this is the exact training that I ran yesterday in the Amazon FBA War Room, which is the #1 paid community on school for Amazon FBA, which Ahmed and I both run. And we do this every single week supporting. So shall we get started, Ahmed?
Yeah, let's do it.
You're like, Tom, you're talking really fast. And you're probably right. Why? Because I'm drinking a lot of coffee. So just be mindful of that. So I think it's like my 3rd coffee for the day. Cool. So I'll jump straight into this. And this is the exact same format that we run it in the FBA War Room. So this is the exact information that I shared yesterday. Now, to give you an idea, we normally share these like handouts every single week. So you've got something to download, annotate. But this is the exact handout that we used from yesterday. So what I'm going to be doing is going through very bullet point Q4. Like this is a part 2 training. We did a part 1 a couple of weeks ago. And it's really just going to go through October, November, December, and I'll even go into January. Get your pen and paper, make some notes, and we'll jump through. So the one kind of thing which I always kind of start off with is, especially with Q4, is that everyone starts going, oh my God, it's Q4, like October the 1st. And they say, sales are going to go through the roof. They don't. You generally don't see that. Some products you'll start selling increase, but generally you're not going to see sales increase until about late or mid-November to late November, and then through to December. That's the big part. Now, for you guys, the one thing to be considering is don't be buying like crazy amounts right now, thinking it's going to sell tomorrow. No, again, think about you're going to start seeing sales ramp up mid-November into December. Now, if you're in the UK, your shipping in times are really easy right now. So, they're not a big problem. So you can actually hold off, maybe go a bit wider, start trying to figure out some more products. But in the US, we're seeing right now, checking in times are about a month. So it's incredibly horrible. So just be mindful that anything you're buying right now will be in a month. So we're going to start increasing what we're buying, like the stock levels, ready in the next couple of weeks, so that it's in late November, early December. But in the UK, you've still got some more time before you start seeing those sales really ramp up. Now, the other one you can consider looking at is A2A flips. So when you're looking sourcing in October, A2A flips can be a good opportunity. The one thing I say to everyone when you do this, we don't do it. I used to do it a long time ago. We did about 30K a month flipping from Europe into the UK. But the one thing you want to do, make sure you're buying through a non-Prime account. It's against Amazon terms of service to do Amazon to Amazon flips with a Prime account. And then B, make sure that you're buying with an account which is not the same email address as your selling account. Even if your selling account is fine, if you get your buying account shut down, that means you can't actually access your selling account. And there's no way to get it back. And I've heard and I've read about people having that. So create a whole new email account, email address, create a new an account for A2A flips. You can still put it in the same company name. That's not a problem, but just don't do it on the same email address. Now, the reason why I talk about A2A flips is because in October, what you're going to start seeing is sales start picking up, and especially into November as well. And so we talk about it here, look at competing retailers. So what you're going to see is that retailers will have sales on, Amazon will have sales on, and they look at each other's prices and they compete, which is really, really important. So if, say, for example, a retailer's got a sale on, maybe you can't get enough stock or they're not going to deliver to you, have a look at all the other retailers, look at Amazon, see if they can price match, look at what's going on. That's going to help you out. So we look at A2A, maybe look at other retailers. Even if Amazon's got a sale on, other retailers might match them or drop their prices as well. Just be mindful. Now, one thing I really think about now is building what's known as a Christmas deal list. So what are we talking about specifically? We're talking about products which increase in sales over Christmas. So whether you're buying them today, maybe in the Black Friday sales, these are the products you want to be buying deeper on because the sales velocity goes through the roof. And I give you an example right here. And if I jump over to my screen share, this is the one we're going to look at right now. So it's a Call of Duty product. And the idea behind this is that what you can see, and I've zoomed out to 1 year down the bottom here, you can just start to see this monthly sales. Now it's going like 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. You're seeing that's going through the roof. Also as well, look at this sales rank. So we're looking at the green line. You're seeing this is coming down, 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 and then it drops back, goes back up to normal. And so what are we seeing? We're seeing the sales are increasing. So the price might not change, but we're definitely seeing the volumes increasing. So if you guys, when you're like, hey, which products do I want to make sure I've got enough stock in, buying more, look for that indicator. You'll probably now start seeing the lines going up, but you're definitely going to go back to 1 year at least and look for that indicator of this kind of monthly sales going up. That's going to be a really good indicator for you guys to know this is a product that I want to be buying more of because the volumes are going through the roof. See, this went from 50 to like 600 sales a month, which is crazy. So just be mindful of that. Now, I say focus. Now, I say build a Christmas deals list. Why? Because a lot of people think in Q4, it's Q4, it's Christmas. I need to go buying all the Christmas stuff. Well, let me kind of give you a tip. Don't. Just buy the things which you're already selling, which you know sell, that have increased volumes. Go deeper on them because you already know they're safe. They work well for you. You can see the volumes work. And that's such an easy way to scale your business over Q4 because these are the great products that you're already selling. You can just buy more of. So do look for that in your sourcing techniques. So I've dropped a link there. You can see it as well. Now, when you're analyzing deals, holiday specific items, and I generally say things like giftable items. So, toys, games are really giftable, beauty's giftable. Those things you're generally going to expect to see up in Q4. But again, look for that kind of increase there in that middle graph, and that's the monthly sold. That's going to help you out. Now, another couple of things you want to think about in October, just kind of on your to-do list to get action, is going to be capital. You are going to run out of money. I promise you this. There are so many deals available. You're going to run out of money. So get capital now. It's going to be credit cards, loans, overdrafts, speak to the bank, Sellify, Wayfarer, all these services, they provide capital. And now is the best time to be spending it. But maybe you don't need it right now, but you are probably going to run out. We've completely run out in our business, and we're still trying to get so much more capital. We can't do it. On top of that, if you're thinking about hiring VAs, you've got to do it now. That's the end of it. They will not be ready in time for the Christmas period, so you've got to be hiring straight away. And then also as well, prep centers. If you are thinking about getting a prep center, maybe you're doing, prep yourself now, maybe you're on the fence. Get started today. The best prep centers will shut their doors in Q4 because they realize that everyone's volumes go up. And what happens is they're going to naturally see like a 50, 100% increase in prep centers. So you've got to start the conversation today because probably within the next few days, they will shut their doors to new customers. Any prep centers that keep their doors open usually are going to get overloaded. Their shipping times will slow down. A couple of years ago, when we started in the US, we opened up, we had a prep center in Delaware. And unfortunately, we shipped in products in November. They didn't arrive in Amazon until February. It was like, oh my God, lucky enough it wasn't Christmas stock, but it was horrendous. So good prep centers will shut now. You can check out those links. If you're interested, check out Prepared for You in the UK. Honestly, great prep center there. And then also in the US, I really like Dan 1000 Asins. He does Epic Prep as well, and that's in the tax-free state, so really helpful. And then finally, networking with other sellers. Why do I say this? It's because this is probably one of the most free, game-changing things that you can do that no one else really talks about or no one does. And I'll say it in my own business, the fact that when I talk to Ahmed, when I talk to other sellers, we're sharing deals. What worked last year? Number two, we're sharing sales that we're seeing on board. Why, hey guys, I saw this sale. We should be buying this product. What do you think about this product? Should we buy that? And we're sharing these conversations. And in turn, we're basically just amplifying our sourcing, amplifying our deal analysis, and amplifying our businesses. Not only that, when you work in really small communities, you know each other's stores, you see each other around. And when someone's price is going a bit crazy, or maybe they're missing an opportunity to put the price high and maximize the sales, then your community are going to help you. They're going to share that, say, hey man, put your price up, or look at this. These things just really give you the edge, and it's so game changing. For example, in my business, we normally run about a 30% ROI. just last week on Thursday, a friend of mine said, hey, mate, by the way, these products, they're really starting to fly. I checked them and I was like, wow, they're running out of stock. Put my price up on all of those items. Over the weekend, we were running a 50% ROI across the entire company. Those products are running at 100%. Why? Because my friend told me about some products selling really well. We had a lot of them in stock. And actually, we just said, hey, we're going to hold our prices high. Made a lot of money. Now, if you are looking to network, do check out the Amazon FBA War Room on, should we say, Schooled. You can join myself and Ahmed. And obviously, we do training like this, and we're a really good community as well. So let's jump through to November. So what do you want to think about in November? So I really say for you, start thinking about building a list of cancelled orders, suppliers which cancel your orders. Why is this important? Because when those sales come on, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all the sales coming from November, you don't want to be wasting time on suppliers which will not source for you or let you put the orders through. Maybe don't deliver to your prep center. And also as well, if you've got a team, make sure your team know about it as well. The VAs, they need to know, because otherwise they'll just submit deals which won't work. So important. Also as well, credit cards. Now, whether you're into credit cards or not, in regards to leverage, always do your purchasing on credit cards. Why? Two parts. One, you will get your credit card details stolen at some point in your Amazon journey. Pretty much in my life, every year about $10,000 goes disappeared from a credit card without fail. So if you have debit cards, it takes about a couple of months to get fixed. With the credit card, one phone call, a few minutes later, that money's back on your account. Carry on spending. That's what you're looking for. And as you're doing a lot of this buying online, OA, for example, this is going to be a big risk for you. So just use a credit card for all purchasing. Number two, points. I've traveled first class so many times. I spent 3 months in hotels in 1 year. Why? Credit card points. Right now, you're about to spend a lot of money. Just do that. And you might think that, hey, I'm only going to get 1,000, 2,000 credit card limit. Well, the idea is that you spend the 2,000 and then you pay it off. You spend it again, pay it off, spend it off, pay it again. So in effect, your credit card's unlimited, but you're always using that protection. That's the way we use it as well. Now, again, networking, continue to review last year's deals with other sellers, stay active in your communities, sharing what's going on. Why? Because if you share what's happening, other people are going to share back with you. And by the way, I think you guys right now are here with myself and Ahmed, and you're listening to what we've got to say. Why? Because you probably find value from what we do, because in the past, we have shared good value. And so therefore, that you now listen to us or listen to the advice we've got, because you might learn something. And in turn, if you guys are sharing value to other people, they'll also give it back to you. And in turn, they'll listen to it and you'll start building great communities. Now, I say share, this will help you in the future. And this is how we build small masterminds, 3 to 5 people, which really help your business rocket. So important. Now, 20th of November, if you're in the US, this is probably going to be the last date that you are going to be shipping in products which are Christmas specific. What do I mean? Obviously not advent calendars, but things that you need to get sold before the 25th. Right now, we're seeing Amazon USA has got about a month check-in time. So it's horrendous. But the idea is that you want to think about everything that's Christmas specific needs to be sold before December the 25th and shipped to the customer. You probably don't want to be shipping that into Amazon FBA any later than the 20th of November. That's to make sure it gets into Amazon, checked in, on sale, sold, and you've run out of stock by the 25th. So important. So keep that in mind. Now, obviously, if you're buying anything else, non-Christmas, keep shipping, which is why I say focus on just the stuff you're already selling. So helpful. Now, on top of this, reorders, one thing we do which works really, really well, base reorders on the previous day's sales or previous weeks. What did you sell last week? Just buy that again, ship it in. And by the way, if you're buying products which are always working for you, selling all year round, you're just going to be restocking those products which work. So making life so much easier. So this is, even for me, we're not buying anything Christmas related, no kind of like Santa related stuff or anything. We're just buying what we're already buying, but we've already identified those products which sell faster, and we're buying more of them because the data tells us and we know they work. Now, top tip for you, if you sell a product and it sells all year round, keep shipping. But also as well, why not source for products that all sell all year round? If you're going to be sourcing for products, why not look for products that sell all year round? Because if they don't sell in Christmas, December, you can still sell them in January. So important. That's why I really like these products rather than Christmas-specific ones. So let's talk about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, things that are going to help you. So again, Focus on buying items that sell all year round throughout multiple seasons. That's going to be really helpful for you. Now, if you do live in the same country, and obviously I don't, and Amit travels quite a bit as well, but if you do live in the same country, like in the UK or in the USA, you might consider doing, should we say, fulfillment by merchant, should we say, coming into Black Friday and going on to Christmas. Why? It's a great opportunity to find products selling fast, then look at those products and buy them. Should we say you can put a reserve on them? Should we say click and collect, for example? You don't actually have to pick them up. Maybe you can list them in the morning and then see if you've got any sales and then pick them up and then get them shipped that same day or the next day. Now, if you're into FBM, it's a great opportunity to turn money. Why? Because you can buy a product today, get it sold today, ship to the customer in a couple of days, and then 14 days later, you get the money back. Whereas with me, for an FBA, I have to buy a product today, I have to prep it in my prep center, then I have to ship it to Amazon, and then Amazon take an entire month to check it in, and then finally 14 days after that, I get my money back. So this is a really good time to turn money if you're doing it, but only do this if you've already done FBM, you like it, and you have a lot of free time. If you don't have free time, it generally won't work. You're probably going to make a mess. So just be mindful. Now, what sells best in Q4? So if you are looking for like Q4 specific things, what can I recommend? So focus on things that you're currently selling. I strongly recommend that. I've said it already. Prioritize, things which have an increased sales rate. So you're going to see things like toys, games, giftable items, and preferably items that you're selling all year round. Again, I come back to that graph. Remember this graph I showed you? This is going up. That's the thing you're looking for. So if you see that line going up, that means, hey, we should probably buy some more of these. It's going to be really, really helpful. Now, also as well, this way, any stock that's left over after Q4, you can still sell in January. Now, when looking for products to resell, what I'd say for you is really review the supply of products. If you are looking at sale items in OA, for example, and especially on like Black Friday, time is your biggest problem. So get the products, sort them by most expensive first, then work down to the cheapest. And the reason why I say doing this is because if you're getting 40-50% ROI, then 40-50% ROI on an expensive product is going to more cash profits than a cheap item. So if you've got sources, focus on expensive items first, work your way down. That's going to really help you out. And you'll probably make sure you get the good items quickly. Now, also as well, one thing we say is you're also after faster selling lines. This is really important. So always focus on well-known brands because generally you see they sell faster in Amazon. That's helpful. Now, a top tip I'll share with you, and this is based on my own experience, is if you have two items to choose between, one which is a slow selling item, but with a high ROI, and the other one is a fast selling item, but with maybe like an okay ROI, personally, I always go with the fast selling item. Why? You might say, hey, Tom, I want to make more money. I should go for the high ROI item. Well, really, this is because most of the time, the sales that we're looking at, other people are going to know about them. And what I've seen in the past is that the slower items with a high ROI, lots of other people know about them. So what happens is maybe it's selling 20, 30 units a month. You go and buy 10, great. Well, other people buy 5 or 10, and all of a sudden, there's like 6 months worth of stock on that listing. And all of a sudden, that high ROI now starts getting really competitive and it starts crashing. And as a result, you now get a low ROI. Now, you might get lucky, but for me, I want to make sure I'm securing those deals and actually getting my stock turning. I don't want to be sat on old stock. So looking at faster selling items is really useful because what you can do is you can just wait out. If there's too much competition, you can wait out and it's not a problem. And for example, for me, once, I think it was Tesco in the UK, we saw a good ROI item, I think it was like 70%. Wasn't the fastest selling. I bought maybe a little bit too much, but everyone else bought it as well. It took me until October the next year to get the product sold. So I learned from this mistake. So really, I want to make sure the products sell fast and I can keep on buying more and more stock. So that's important for me. So just keep mindful of that. So I just want to take a quick break now before we jump into December to talk about today. Obviously, we're doing this as part of Ahmed and I sharing, and this is training that we do in the Amazon FBA War Room. So this is a community that Ahmed and I have created, and it's really just been over the last 2 months we've created this. And I'm really proud to say that we are the #1 paid Amazon FBA community on the school platform. Super engaged, lots and lots going on. So I just want to take literally a few minutes now quickly to talk about this and to let you know about it. And if you're interested, obviously you can see what's inside. So really, we have designed this to support you guys to achieve growing in your business quicker. Now, we're helping out sellers doing online arbitrage and wholesale in the UK, USA, those business models, and we're here to support you in getting the results and the answers that you need to be quicker. Now, to give you an idea of some of the things that we've got here, we've got Mark, who's been with us, and he's worked with me previously, and he's now joined the school community. And I just want to say a big thanks to Thomas, and the biggest, most important help so far for me is his community that I've built. And you can see his results here. In the last 5 months of selling on Amazon, he's done 60,000. And also as well, he has actually now gone up to 20K, which is absolutely incredible. We've had here, Saida has come through a section 3. We've supported her through that. You can see here, finally passed my section 3. I just want to say thank you to this incredible supportive community. You have all been such a huge help during this stressful time, whether it's been offering advice, providing moral support, and suggesting ways to resolve the issue. I couldn't have done it without you. So really here to support our members and helping them out. We do regular training and one-to-one sessions, just like we're doing right now. And Khalil said, first of all, thank you for the great session. What I like about your sessions is you're more open to go in depth when someone asks a question and you interact with them. We feel like it's a one-to-one session. I feel like I'm sitting with an expert friend in a coffee shop and we're discussing friendly. And to give you an idea, when we have these sessions, like the training sessions and the Q&A sessions, they're like this. They're actually Google Meet calls, which are recorded, and you can turn on your camera, have a conversation with us back and forth, not like you are right now. It's actually really there to get the right answers and to really support you in getting the detail that you need to help drive your business forward. And we run training. We run it every Monday. So this is the same training I did yesterday. And we also run 2 weekly live Q&A sessions where we analyze deals, we support you, and you have your questions answered and support you in anything that you need to do in your business. And I do one and Ahmed does the other one. And we're really here to support you, helping you out every Wednesday and Thursday with that. Now, on top of that, Saida said here, the tips from today's sessions, especially how to read keeper charts or checking stock levels and adjusting prices, were really helpful. I also loved when you talked about looking at your competitors and finding things that they aren't doing, like when you mentioned how last year you might have been doing beauty products, but you aren't now. That was a really great insight. And I just want to point out how much I appreciate that you give equal time to everyone's questions. Your answers are super detailed and clear, which is great. But I love how you keep control of the sessions and make sure that everyone gets a chance to ask questions. And for us, this is a really important part. We want to make sure everyone who joins the community, they get a chance to ask questions, learn, get the information that they need. And if you are interested, obviously we've got an amazing community here where you can see questions, you can have your questions answered in that space as well. And it's really useful. Why? Because you can literally just search for keywords and it's going to come in and help you find all the comments for that. On top of that, we have our classroom training. So we've got courses that are going to help you get where you need to be with lots and lots of content here that's going to help you out. On top of that, we also record the training. So you can see all the different training that we do and you can see the previous ones and you can get access to that now. And then we also have other helpful information to help you as well. We've also got a calendar, which does the live training on the Monday and the Wednesday and Thursday sessions with Ahmed and myself in the Q&A sessions going to support you. And if that's something that you're interested in, then make sure you check out the Amazon FBA War Room. And it's our #1 paid community on school. And I'll give you a stat, which I'm really proud of. 98% of all of our members who have joined have continued on to their second month. That's 98% of people who have found value in what we're offering, and they're continuing to stay on because it's just that helpful. So if you are interested, check out school, check out the Amazon FBA War Room. You'll see myself and Ahmed and do that. So let's jump back onto the training. So let's go into December. What do you need to know? There's a lot of noise going on in the background, so sorry about that one. Right, let's go through. So December the 1st to the 10th, what do you want to think about? These are going to be the last days that you need to ship items that you need to sell before Christmas. So obviously, if you're in the US, you probably already stopped shipping those items, but if in the UK, this is probably going to be for you. Top tip for you, always be checking in, watching Amazon's check-in times. The way we do this is we just go into the shipments and we look at how long does the shipment take and when's everything being received and are those stock live. It's a really easy way to do it. So if you're in the US, any time between November the 20th and December the 1st, you want to stop shipping Christmas specific. So this is like everything you need to be sold before December the 25th. But remember, Amazon's still open there afterwards. So anything that sells all year round, keep shipping. Number 2, if you're in the UK, generally between the 1st and the 10th, maybe up to the 12th of December, is when we stop shipping Christmas-specific items for the UK. That's something really important. You can maximize Q4 by doing FBM. We talked about that previously. So focusing on, if you have the time, you can do it. You can literally list items today on Amazon, pick them up from retailers, sell them, ship them to the customer straight away. My advice for anyone doing this, and I've not done it myself, but I know a lot of people who have, focus on a small number of ASINs which generally sell more, and try to do high value items. Why? Because 30% ROI on a $100 item is better than 50% ROI on a $10 item. Just make it worth your while to go to the post office and post something. Now, December the 1st to the 21st, this is the key time you want to be checking your repricer, like watching it like a hawk. Now, to give you an idea, this is what we're doing right now because some of the products we're seeing are doing this. So I'm going to show you some screen shares in a minute or jump onto a keeper chart, but you want to be looking at products whereby they're starting to sell out, maybe stock's going down, and you're like, hey, I should put my price high. So I'm literally putting these prices higher. So if I jump over to keeper chart right now, let's have a quick look at this product or these products. This is the one I talked about previously. Who we got here, obviously you can see that the monthly sales is going up, which is super helpful. So that's telling that the demand is going up. You can see that the green line, the sales rank, that's coming down. So again, demand is going up. And also, what are we noticing with the buy box? Well, historically, price went up. So as supply, should we say, decreases, less sellers, demand is going up. So supply going down, demand going up. You generally see price starts to go up. So that happens as well. Let's jump over to some other ones. So we've got a little My Little Pony, another DVD or game I found here. So what we're looking at here, and again, this is the kind of indicators that I'm looking at in my business, is I'm starting to see that this new seller count is going down. When I start seeing that, I'll start having a quick look. Number one, how fast is it selling? 700 units. And I'm like, how much stock is on the listing? Well, there's only like maybe 317. So I'm like, hey, maybe I want to just hold my price for a while and see what happens. And I'll continue to check these products. And perhaps right now the price is at $19.49. But maybe if I hold my price and the stock starts selling out, maybe I can start going up and up and up. And if we look at historical, you can see back in December last year, look at that new seller count. That new seller count dropped dramatically. You can also see this monthly sold came up dramatically. This sales rank, you can see here, came down dramatically. What happened to the buy box? Well, the buy box obviously went suppressed, but it's still selling 7,000 units a month. And you're going to go from what? $19.49 to maybe $36. So all of a sudden, a product which is making you 30, 40% ROI could now be making 100, 150% ROI. So during that month of December, really be checking your repricer, checking that. So important. Exactly the same here. I've zoomed out already. Another product, you can see it right here. What happened in December last year? Well, you can see it. The new offer count came down. The monthly sales started going up. And what was a nice straight line on the graph, all of a sudden, and admittedly it continued, but started to go higher and higher and higher. So for you, just be watching those prices, saying what's working, what products could be selling out, and maybe I want to hold my prices higher. That's where you're going to make some really good, great profits. Now, also as well, all of December, continue to focus on buying products that still sell January thereafter. This is why we're focusing on products which sell all year round. It just makes life so much easier. And keep buying and shipping items throughout the month. So important. And then on top of that, just be mindful, Amazon is actually still open on the 25th. Everyone's like, does Amazon shut? You know, we all talk about Q4. No, Amazon is still open. Continue monitoring your store. Continue buying. Continue shipping. People will buy on Christmas Day. I promise you that. So just be mindful. Keep shipping. Keep buying. And if you're buying products now, which are going to sell all year round, you're going to be great. Now, let's move on to January. Couple of things for you. January is actually the third best month for sales for most people. So don't think it's over after Q4. It's not. January is a really, really good month. And I share here some graphs that I've had and also a friend of mine as well. So this is my USA business a while ago. So you can see here, when we started to scale, we did December really good. January was an amazing month. Absolutely incredible. This is a good friend of mine, Saros. He did 10 million in his second year. And you can see here, January is his second best month, or third best month, actually. Sorry. Really, really good here. And when we did 3 million in the UK in sales, you can see here, January is actually a pretty good month. I was really, really happy with that. So be very mindful. And then the final thing I'll share with you before we jump onto the Q&A is, whenever you're reviewing your keeper chart, especially in like December, maybe coming into January, you've got to load it up to the 1 year. So what do I mean? Is like when you're clicking on this keeper chart, you come down here, you don't just go to the 3 months, you click on the 1 year graph. Why? Because you're not going to be analyzing the last 3 months historical. You're going to be analyzing what happens in January onwards last year for this product. Because unfortunately, we're not selling in the same busy period as Q4 anymore. We're now selling in the slightly less busy period. January's still great, but February slows down and March gets a lot slower. So you just want to make sure that the products you're buying still sell during the January, February, March period last year, so that the products you're buying today will continue to sell in January, February, March this year. So make sure you go out to the 1 year graph. That's really, really important when you're doing a deal analysis. So that is pretty much it. That's everything I've gone through. And again, I'll just say to you guys, this is the exact same training I went through yesterday in the Amazon FBA War Room, and we give these handouts and we support them, and then we jump into a Q&A. So today, I'd like to jump into a Q&A right now. And Ahmed, I think you've been doing an amazing job of like copying information over and getting questions. Is that right?
Yes, I only have one question from Shahid.
Fantastic. Do you want to have you dropped them in the chat, and then obviously I can just highlight them and go from there?
Yes, I tried to add it in the YouTube chat, but it's too long and didn't allow me. So I drop it in the StreamYard chat.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go through some of these and I'll go through that as well. So Ahmed, if you see anything else come up, just drop them in. So I've got a couple here on things. So quick question. I appreciate I've been talking for a long time. So Ahmed, how's your Q4 getting on? Like, I appreciate you've just been hit yesterday, but like, how was it prior to that? And obviously now, like, how's it going to adjust?
Oh, hard question for me right now to answer. My mind is now to fix the brands where I got gated. I would say it's just normal, not an increase in sales. Of course, all these gatings, all these brands that got gated is going to affect me a lot, but it is what it is. It's just normal sales at the moment.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, by the way, for most people, you're probably going to see that it will be normal sales throughout October. Everyone's like, it's Q4, where are all the sales? And you're like, look, unless you've chosen the right products, you're not going to get it. If I give you an example with mine, I talked about it earlier on. We have massive cash flow issues right now. So basically, we have more deals in cash. So I think there's a really funny one. There's a listing selling 500 units per month, and we only bought 10 items because we're like, that's all we want to buy because we're buying like 1 week's worth of stock at a time. And so what we're trying to go as wide as possible just to maximize sales. We've currently got a sell-through rate of 3. If anyone knows what that means, it means that we sell through our entire inventory in 3 times in a 90-day period. It's a metric on Amazon. And because of that, we're quite wide. But what we also noticed is the fact that some of those products that we're selling are now really running out of stock. And admittedly, they're in the toys section, so it's starting to pick up for Q4. And what's really interesting is those items, again, we were looking at these graphs, and I just started putting my prices high. And again, I'll talk about it. Normally, we run about 30% ROI. For the last weekend, this weekend gone, we're doing 50% ROI. I think it's like 25, 26% gross margins. Absolutely incredible. Why? Some of these products we normally get 30%, they're now going for 100, 150% ROI, which is just pushing the whole business up. And so what did I do? I recognized them, and I said to my team, go find me more of these. Everything you can, and we're just buying that. So everything else is about normal, but for us right now, some of the items have started to really shift, and we're just focusing down on them with what little money we have. So we'll see how that goes. So that's good. Ahmed, question for you. Can you start in the USA in OA with £3,000? So I'm guessing you're as a non-resident given the pounds part.
Yes, you can. But it's for, at least for me, it's a very low amount. But yeah, you can start even with less. There are people who start £1,000, £2,000. If you ask me, I would, if I had £3,000 and I really want to start selling on Amazon, I will actually save at least maybe 10,000, and then I will start.
Yeah, I think so. I appreciate I can read a bit more than you can. So he's saying he's got experience in Amazon UK. I think my long story short, if anyone's looking to sell in the US as a non-resident, I say minimum 10,000, but probably 30,000. What, like dollars? Why? Because you just can't really access capital. Your problem is everything's over. You know, it's on that side. It's in the US, so you don't have access to easy capital like we do. And then the other problem comes is just the costs are so much more expensive. To give you an example, in the US, my accountancy fees are like $750 a month. With the UK, we're paying like $200 a month, or we were $250. So therefore, I'm just, prep in the UK, 50p per item, very common. Prep in the US, you're looking like $1.50. So like it just starts costing a lot more. So you need more capital to deploy. And the margins are higher, but also as well, everything just costs a lot more. So I generally say if you've got 3K, keep going in the UK because your costs are really low. Learn the skill more. Get to the point where you're at least 10K, ideally, if not 30, then you can look at transitioning over. So helpful. Here's an interesting one. You know this one because you do a lot on wholesale, Ahmed. Also, you share a lot about that within, you've done some wholesale training within the community. So part of the business is purely diversifying enough not to take these huge hits. Regardless of Section 3, some suppliers can even take exclusive contracts with your competitors, unfortunately. Like, one thing I kind of take away from this is, like, we talk about diversifying, but, like, how have you found, like, a lot of wholesalers, they require really big minimum spends. Like, what are you doing about that so that you're not too heavy on one product, for example, especially given this, like, maybe how you're going to change your business?
Right now I work with, I'm like, until a month ago, I was 100% wholesale. Now I switched to maybe 70% online arbitrage, 30% wholesale, and I only work with few wholesalers which have a minimum order quantity quite low, and minimum order quantity per ASIN, it's, I would say, very, very low, like 10 units, 20 units, depending how they come in a pack. I'm trying to keep it like that for now.
We've seen it as well. Like, there's some suppliers where they're like really big minimum orders, 5, 10, 20, 50K. And for us, it's kind of like, we're just not really in the position whereby if we did that, it's too much risk in one supplier or one type of product that they're selling. So therefore, it's not going to work for us. There probably will be a time in the future that we'll do it. But right now, it's like, I'd rather just make sure we're risk diversified. Why? Because, again, we've seen gating. Gating's a big problem. People have that issue. So that's something to really think about. Interesting here. Tyson said, weird that big sellers like Ahmed would get regated. Unfortunately, I think everyone gets regated, don't they? There's no big or small. So important. Ahmed, do you find it weird that you're getting regated?
No, at all. No, at all. I've seen many big sellers, massive sellers getting ungated. So I don't think there is much difference. Yeah, sometimes different situations, but this time small and big sellers got gated in this brand.
Yeah, I think Tyson talked about it here. Big sellers on X talking about the regating. Most have survived, but new sellers seem to be getting chopped. I think the one bit of advice I'd share to anyone right now, especially around what happened yesterday in regards to gating, is the fact that this is just business. Like, we don't know why it happened. It could be Amazon. It could be the brands themselves said they wanted Amazon to do it. There could be many reasons. But what we do know is that things like this do happen. We've seen it already. And then as we run our businesses, what we need to make sure is that we have, we're not too heavily invested in any one brand. Also, as well as that, if we are a bit more exposed in one brand, if this happens, because we've already seen it, what do we then do? Do we really have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, like how we're going to deal with it? And then also as well, just go into your business expecting it to happen. Because then if it doesn't happen, you've lost nothing. But if it does happen, you're like, cool. And Ahmed and I were actually having this conversation yesterday. And the one thing I've learned about my own journey, and I've learned from others, is I wish I'd just done the journey, but with a lot less emotion. Because half the time, the emotions just stopped me from doing actions. And instead, what I wanted to do is I should have taken action, which is the most important part. And being able to network with other sellers, learn from what they're doing, so important. Obviously, hence the War Room, an amazing space to be able to ask questions, community, and get the information you need to learn from others. So let's see how it goes. We got to see. So what do we got here? Prep. So prep centers that can handle, do you know any prep centers that can handle FBM during Christmas? I think Tyson's saying, like, good luck, it's going to be really hard. I think it's really difficult. Most prep centers won't do it unless you're an existing customer.
I don't know, as I've never been interested in FBM, so it'll be worth asking in the communities. For sure, you'll find someone.
Correct. Fantastic. And we got a comment here from Alona, and Alona's actually part of the school community. So Alona, great to see you here today as well. So thank you for creating and so grateful for the community. It's so helpful. And again, she turns up to all the training. She turns up to lives. Like, we've worked really closely with her, and and it's the little things like learning how to read keeper properly, doing proper deal analysis. Why? Because buying right is so important, and we just share all that information. So absolutely brilliant. Right, let's kind of go through. So Ahmed, you've got a question. I'll kind of jump on it here. You said from the FBA community, I can't really, 1 second. I'm going to read it out and then go through it. So you say from the FBK community, this is Amazon's, Ahmed's group, sorry. This is, so Kevin Murphy and other brands were hard gated for the last 2 to 3 months of new sellers, but now all sellers have been removed and there's still some brands that remain hard gated for other sellers. Yet those that sold those brands in the past can still list and sell them. should we avoid selling these brands that are hard gated for others, but not for us? I feel that Amazon may eventually take similar action with these brands, just as they did with Kevin Murphy and others. So long story short, and this is the thing I said earlier on, there are still some sellers who can probably sell Lego, still sell Funko, still sell Kevin Murphy, for example. What's my thoughts on it? Well, my thoughts are I would just be really careful. Right now, I would not be buying any stock. I'd be looking to, if you are still selling it, I'd be clearing down the stock that I've got as quickly as possible. And then I'd just be seeing what happens with the lay of the land, because it might be that Amazon didn't tag your account, but later on it's going to get removed. So I'll see what happens. Now, I had this conversation previously about beauty with a couple of friends of mine, and we said, should we go back into beauty because there's some problems we thought were going to happen that never really materialized? And the answer was no, the whole space seems a bit dangerous. So I'm not saying toys is dangerous, because this is the first time we've ever seen this in toys, but especially in beauty, do I expect there's going to be more brands that get hard gated in beauty? Yes, I do. It's interesting to see toys. We've never seen this before, so I'm going to be interested to see what happens. If I continue to see brands like other toy brands getting gated, then I'll probably be very careful. And what would I be doing? I'd be just making sure that I'm reducing my risk exposure to those brands, and just be really mindful for you guys. Be careful about parent brands. So you might have in beauty space, L'Oreal owns a lot of brands. So you might think you're quite diversified when you actually realize they're all owned by the same parent company, and it could be the parent company calling the shots. So therefore you're not diversified. You're actually very heavy risk exposed. So just be mindful of that as well. But generally for me, what I would probably be doing is saying, look, I'm going to stop buying. I'm going to get my stock sold. I'm just going to see what happens. And if Amazon retract it, or if something changes in the future, fantastic. But right now, I'm not going to do anything. And then maybe I'll make a decision probably in Q1, depending on what I can see happening on from there. Ahmed, your thoughts about people who still can sell the Lego and Funko, etc.?
No, nothing to add. You said it very well. Yeah. If you need to be careful, other brands which are being owned by the same parent company. We've seen this in L'Oreal. Yeah, L'Oreal, CeraVe, Vichy, and all the other brands that got gated one after the other. Clinique. Yeah, nothing else to add.
Yeah, and I think that's something really important. We've seen this before, so I wouldn't go back to start selling quickly. Someone asked me today, my God, everyone's been kicked off. Should I buy all their stock and sell it? I was like, hell no. Once if Amazon made a mistake for you, and then you should have got kicked off, and now all of a sudden you bought all their stock, and they're trying to sell it, so I wouldn't. There was another comment Ahmed said, and I'll come back to the YouTube comments quickly in a minute, but Ahmed said, someone mentioned here, I've been selling toys for the past 2 years in the UK market, and I find products, they offer a good 30 to 40% ROI. However, by the time they sell in the market, the ROI drops to 5 to 15%. What's the solution? And by the way, if you're feeling this at a fundamental level, if you're buying products, they look good, and when you come to sell them, those prices are crashed. This is really common. And we have gone through countless training in the War Room. Literally, the first training I did was about this, how to stop this, and how to solve this problem. And at a fundamental level, it's because while you're analyzing the products right now, what you're not doing is thinking about what everyone else is doing. And you don't really have suppliers which are, they're too competitive. Too many other people know about this. And we actually share a checklist that I do, is from my business, and it's how we do our analysis within our products. So all we have supplier check, what we look at for red flags, we look at estimated sales per month, how many to buy. Literally, so you can download it in the War Room. And the idea is that what this is going to do is to help you spot these deals which look good, and when you come to sell, they actually don't work. And what we want to do is stop you from buying those deals and continue to buy the deals which really work. Why? Because if you can change your ROI from 10% at sale back up to that 30, you've just 3x your business overnight. And that's just changing the game. So, if you are interested, for you, and I'll say it at a fundamental level to help you out, it is really reviewing the deals that you're buying and asking why. And if you want the shortcut, join the War Room, watch the very first training I did, download the checklist for purchasing. You can watch the live video with it as well. And you can literally see how we do our analysis to make sure that we're getting products whereby, we're buying at 30%, and maybe when we're selling them, they're going down to 25. That's game changing. So, and again, actually right now we're buying at 30%, and when we're selling them, they're going up to 50, maybe 150 if we're getting the right products. So again, really looking at these products, so important. Let me jump back to the FBA or the other comments. So we've got quite a lot on YouTube coming through. So I appreciate right now we're streaming on YouTube, Instagram, and I think Instagram might drop out in a bit because it does only say an hour. But then also as well, we're doing it on Ahmed's group. I keep calling you Amazon. Sorry, I'm just like talking too much. So Ahmed's group as well. So Alona mentioned a question here. In your experience, some wholesalers not opening an account with new sellers as they get very busy because of Q4. Ahmed, thoughts? What's your thoughts on that one?
Yes, it might be. Some wholesalers to be very, very busy, the same as the prep centers. So expect the volume to increase. So don't waste time. Open as many accounts as possible now and get ready for Q4.
Yeah. And by the way, like this is it. It's just part of the game. I've interviewed many sellers. The idea is that you want to, if you think you can start this business from day one and you're going to have everything open for you, it's going to be easy. It's not. And by the way, you want to appreciate the fact that it's hard, because if it was easy, then everyone else would do it as well. But the fact that it's hard means that a lot of people will give up. And so therefore, the longer you're in the game, the more wholesalers you're going to open up, the more suppliers. And Ahmed's done a lot of talking about that. We've done a lot of talking in the War Room about how to vet wholesalers, what we look at, all the checklists that we go through. All these things are going to be really helpful. Why? Because it just means that once you open them, you've now got pricing which is going to remain very stable, and it's going to help you buy products and build your business. And other people, they'll just be like, it's really hard, so I'm not going to bother. So really, really good advice there. So I love it. Ahmed, can we expect more gating in the coming weeks, maybe months? What are your thoughts?
Anything is possible. So right now I was thinking I should check the brand that we just got gated yesterday to see if they belong to different brand, because I haven't checked that, but I'm sure they do, and see what other brands are from the, in the same help me with that like
same group or like same
group,
branding.
yes, the same group. Anything is possible. I don't know. You can expect even the brands that we got gated to be ungated after the Q4. It happened before. It could happen again. I know. However, I will not live in fear. That will be another problem. If you live in fear, oh, what if that happened? What if that happened? What? Yes, it's good to be careful, but not to live in fear. Although maybe I post a lot, when I'm going through challenges, but I post because I post about everything, good or bad. But doesn't mean you have to live with the fear that only bad things is going to happen. No, it's not always the case.
Agree. And I'll say it now. The one thing I really admire about you, Ahmed, is you're really honest. You share the good with the bad, and by the way, let's be honest, there are times within all businesses, this business, all businesses, and even life, when we go through bad times. And I think, by the way, and I'll say it now, it's you've got to go through the bad to be able to appreciate the good. If you just look at people who have, grown up with everything given to them, they're some of the most unhappy people around. We've got to experience some of the pain to be able to appreciate the good side. And this is just part of the journey of making us becoming who we need to be and building the business that we want and building the life that we want. So definitely. Specifically coming back to the comment, can we expect more gating? I would put all of my money on it that we would see more gatings in the coming weeks and months. Why? Because just look at the history. I talked about it a year ago. Clinique was gated. Then we started seeing more and more brands. I still remember it. It was I think Kiehl's got gated after that. And it's a year ago. And we've just seen more and more and more. So what does this mean? It means that the Amazon landscape's changing. And we talked about it in the War Room. We talked about it how we started getting out of beauty. We started transitioning to other categories, which we shared in the War Room about what we're doing and why. And the point behind this is, and also how we're diversifying. So we're not, when things get gated, we don't know what's going to get gated, but when they do, we're not too heavily exposed, because just like we've seen yesterday, people are oh wow, Lego sales great, I'll buy loads of it. But you go cool, buy loads, but just don't go crazy to the point that if it gets gated, you've got a problem. And I always say it to people, you're here to, your job in the whole of Amazon is to stay in the game, you're not trying to win it tomorrow. Like, don't put all your cards on red, but like try and stay in the game. That's the point. So yes, we want you to have a really good Q4, but we don't want you to risk everything on red and then potentially you get gated. And as a result, but we will see more gatings. That's just part of life. And being part of a community such as the War Room is going to help you manage, navigate what you need. Is going to really help you out. Great question here, Ahmed. You kind of shared about it. Why is the toy niche in the UK becoming extremely saturated? What are your thoughts?
Maybe because it's Q4 and everyone is pushing more toys. But not all these things are extremely saturated. But I think this is the situation for most of the big categories. It's not easy. We just need to find what works for us. We need to find the best price. That's very, very important. Especially if you do OA and you buy from the same stores, the most known stores like everyone else, then don't be surprised that all listings are extremely saturated. And when someone might jump on a listing and might undercut everyone, and you might think, oh, he's selling at negative profit, when actually he was, very smart and got a very good supplier and didn't buy from the same store like everyone else. I've seen this happening a lot among the beginners and not only. And yeah, expect toys and like all the other products that are meant, are very like gifts and advent calendars to become very, very saturated. Another thing is now being Q4 or, getting close to this November, December, always, as Thomas mentioned, look what happened in the past. It's so important now to pay more attention to what happened last year in the same period.
Yeah, agreed. I think, and it's interesting. By the way, like I'll say, we talked about it yesterday in the training because it's a really good question. It was about if you're getting started, how do you start? What category should you go after to find a niche? Something that is not saturated. And we went through really step by step, like do this up until this sales, and then at this sales, then you want to do these steps. And this is really important because the information's out there, it, and we guide you through how to do it, but it does just help you understand, like, to get away from what everyone else is buying. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to be buying these products whereby they're 30% ROI at purchase, then they crash down to 5%. Like, that's not what we want. We want 30% at purchase, sell at 30%, 40%. That's what we're looking for. So again, we shared some really good advice on that yesterday in the War Room on the Q&A session after the training, which was great. So I think you've got a question here that came through obviously from your group, Ahmed. Sellers pay for all returns, refunds. How to deal with Q4 returns and refund abuse? Ahmed, thoughts?
Oh, abuse. What do you mean by abuse?
I'm guessing it's just more people returning. Like, it's going to happen, isn't it? You can't stop it, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't do anything, I would say, unless you, for example, you sell video games and it's being returned with no CD, or you sold it yesterday and it was refunded today, and when you check the CD, you see that's been used for 20 years. Yeah, in that case, you just ask for reimbursement. But otherwise, not much you can do, I guess.
Yeah, I'll give it. So look, fundamentally, if a customer wants to return a product, there's nothing you can do about that. Like, they are allowed to, and because Amazon's customer service supersedes what you want to say. Now, again, I talked about this in the training we just did. Really what you want to be doing is buying the products which already sell for you. So focus on the products which are already selling, and then, look for the ones which, sell more and just buy more of them. Like, what a lot of people think about in Q4 is, hey, I need to go and buy loads of Q4 products now because Q4. I'm like, don't do that. Why? Because all these new products, you have no idea of the IP complaints, the risk, the competition, the return rate. And so therefore you've got a problem. But if you know these products that you're selling already are great, they have no risk or low risk, low competition, and the return rate is great, it's really low, then you're probably not going to have a problem here. So what we generally tend to find is that those people who get problems with this, they're probably buying new products that they've never previously sold, so unknown return rates. Number two is the fact that if you go into things like fashion and shoes, especially in the US, oh my God, the return rates are going to go through the roof. And obviously they have additional fees as well on top, which you really want to be mindful of. So I think for you is you can't stop sellers or buyers returning items. What you can do is just make sure that should say the products you're buying are just the ones that already work for you. Don't go too crazy. And by the way, if you keep buying these, which are your existing products, they'll sell throughout all of Q1 as well. So why would you not want to focus on that? That's the key area, and that's what we're doing as well. So I love this one. You said Conrad here, who also, perfect advice will be to buy container quantities. Talk about going deep. So also we know Conrad, he's doing absolutely smashing the game, but he's talking about buying 33 parrots and one supplier to negotiate better prices. Ahmed, have you ever bought a container from a supplier?
No, never.
Not at all. No, I love it. Absolutely love it. I have not either. And again, it's up to you. If you're buying, you can buy a container really easily if you're doing grocery, for example, because the value per item thing. But if you're doing computer games, you're going to have to buy a lot of computer games to fill a container, which is going to be a very expensive container. And for me personally, I just prefer selling less and selling higher value items because I can manage the repricer quite well. It's less issues. But again, many different ways to run the business, and we talk about them. There's pros and cons to each. There's no right or wrong, and it's really up to you what works. So Conrad obviously absolutely smashing it there, buying containers. I love it. So you got it here. It says Thomas is on the buzz. Do you think I'm on the buzz? Have I had a pre-workout? Maybe it's just 5 coffees today. Am I a bit buzzing today, Ahmed?
You are, as always.
All right, sorry. Calm down. After this, I'll need to go crash. So absolutely love it. So someone says here, love his energy. No, thank you, honestly. And by the way, I'll just say this, in the war room, we have in the calls, we do the training, we do the Q&A, and hopefully you're finding value in this right now, getting the questions answered. But we don't do, the questions aren't like this. They aren't like where you drop them in and, Tom puts them on the chat. Not at all. The questions we do, they are like this. Literally, we're in a group chat where you can see all of us and you can turn on your cameras and your thing and we can talk to you. And we do this every single one of our calls, our training, the 2 weekly Q&A calls that we do are all on Google Meet. You can literally turn your camera on and have a conversation and ask follow-up questions, which is so, so helpful. A lot of time when you do the kind of chat ones, you don't really feel like the question got properly answered. Whereas having the opportunity to follow up, ask more questions is so helpful. And you can see Ahmed and I there in a call. And, we do the Q&A sessions twice a week, every Wednesday and Thursday. And then on top of that, we do the training every Monday, which is just like what I've done, followed by a Q&A session. And I won't lie, we make sure that everyone's questions get answered. That's one of the key things we're looking at. So if you are interested, do obviously join the Amazon FBA War Room. And obviously we are the #1 paid community on school. So absolutely brilliant. So let's kind of jump back. Someone said here, can you ungate using an iHerb invoice? Ahmed?
According to Amazon terms and conditions, you need to use a distributor or manufacturer or a brand invoice, supplier invoice. But not supplier, sorry, wholesale invoice. However, sometimes you can just get ungated with invoices from retailers. I've done it in the past, and I've done it even with a iHerb invoice in Germany. Yeah, you can do it. I've done it with Look Fantastic. I've done it with Cocon Center. I've done it with Sanareva. I've done it with Notino. Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, perfect. I think, look, fundamentally, Amazon says wholesaler, distributor, manufacturer, or I think letter of authority. You can see it when you click to apply. What we have seen sometimes is that if you were to, sometimes they will accept invoices like from the Nike store, for example, or the Lego store, because that's technically from the brand. That makes sense. But we classify them as OA, but they are from the brand. And sometimes they will accept Target, Walmart, for example. The one thing I'd probably say is, I won't strongly recommend it, but you can try, but don't keep trying if you get rejected. We have seen it when Amazon has been really, really busy. And then sometimes the invoices go through, literally 2 minutes later, congratulations. And no one reviewed that invoice in 2 minutes. So sometimes it's automated, sometimes it's not. But again, we kind of share what's going on. But if you can, go find a wholesaler distributor. They're not very hard. We share guides in the war room about how to do this and help you out as well. And again, you can join the Q&A calls that help you as well. So, Ahmed, question for you. Alona said, do you think this gating problem is going to come to the UK market as well? What are your thoughts?
It can happen. Yeah, normally things are starting in the USA, then other marketplaces are following. I believe UK is always the next marketplace. It can happen. If I'm not wrong, Clinique is not gated in the UK, right?
As far as I'm aware, but I don't sell there anymore. So
yeah, so I don't think it's gated in the UK. And we got gated in Clinique many months ago. Until now, no signs of gating. So I don't know. Anything is possible. But it could be.
I think, exactly the same. What we see in the US generally is a precursor to what will happen in other marketplaces. Now, how long that takes is how long is a piece of string. So if you are seeing a brand being gated in the US, for example, then I'd probably say just be very careful about going too deep in the UK. Because it could be that it could be that Amazon has made it, or it could be the brand has done it. Again, you just want to see what's going on and watch what's happening, and you'll see it, because if it's the brand, they'll probably start gating everything in the US, and then you might start seeing some similar actions in the UK, or maybe nothing will happen. But again, it's just like use it as an indicator to help you understand what may happen, and then don't go too deep in that category or that brand or whatever's happening in the US. It's that's actually quite a good reason why selling on the UK is helpful, because you kind of get advance warning of what may happen. So important. I think Ahmed posted a message from his community which said someone has used iHerb to get ungated. Interesting. So it does happen. I think Reezy Risa once told me on his YouTube video, he's like, he got ungated with a blank sheet of paper. So anything's possible. So just be mindful. So let's go and jump through. We've got here, seasonal and limited edition things do very well on eBay with no returns. So again, when you're looking at stuff, so thank you for sharing that. That's so important. We'll kind of do the last couple of questions and then we'll wrap up. So obviously, guys, if you want to put your questions in, drop it in. We are watching, and obviously Ahmed is doing a great job of copying them over to the chat. So obviously I can do it as well. So thank you. So he said, what about AWB? How Amazon? What? Many people have faced issues with the supplier in the past. I recently heard that Amazon started accepting some invoices and it's a supplier. What's your opinion on this, Ahmed? Who's AWB?
Asian beauty wholesaler. Beauty wholesaler.
Cool.
I will stay away from all these Chinese, Koreans, whoever they are. I will stay away. I've seen in the past month, 2 months, people having big issues with Stylevana. They're going through Section 3. We have 1 or 2 members in our community, on school community, who are right now fighting the Section 3. And the biggest problem with, for example, Stylevana is you have hard time to get a proper invoice from them. So I wouldn't buy. And all these Koreans brands are very risky, very risky. They are selling well, I know, but I wouldn't. I would stay away.
Cool. No, I love it. Okay, no, thank you. Yeah, agreed. I think, again, we share about this, and I think if Amazon's had issues in the past, and be careful. Generally, for me, when we looked at beauty, we just said anything from Asia was a no. Why? Not saying that supplier is bad, but the question is, we thought about this way. It was like, it does not matter if the supplier is true, is legit. It's whether Amazon thinks the supplier is legit. So we have to go to a higher standard. So we basically just said, where do a lot of illegitimate products come from? Generally Asia. So we're like, anything from Asia, we just said no. We always want to buy from European suppliers. So important. Alona, so final questions, guys, drop it in. We have so much information from you guys. It's like 100% more in the community. And thank you. And obviously, if you guys want to know, Alona is part of the community, and obviously she's on the Q&A. Absolutely love it. And she honestly has worked closely with us over that whole time and gets questions answered, learns from the community, learns from the live training sessions, which help you out as well. So I think, Ahmed, we'll finish it up there. So I just want to say for you guys, obviously, if you are interested, do look at school.com, and search for Amazon FBA War Room. You'll see this color scheme. You'll see our little logo up the top there. You'll see us, and the idea is that if you're looking for a community, it's going to help you get what you want faster, with 3 live sessions a week, and we're going to do live training followed by Q&A. And again, it's on those Google Meet sessions, so you can actually get a chance to interact and do follow-up questions. And this is just getting you the answers quicker. And this is coming from 2 7-figure Amazon sellers. Both Ahmed and I have sold in both the UK and USA, and we currently sell to this day. So we're live in the game, and we have a great network that we talk to, so we can get you all the answers that you need, and we're supporting you with that as well. And if that's something interested for you, then you can join. And it's just literally a monthly subscription that you can cancel at any time, no upfront commitment. And remember that stat that I told you, 98% of our members, they renewed from the first to the second month. They find the value that we're offering in that community, and it's helping them to scale their business. So if you want to help scale your business, do check out the Amazon FBA War Room on the school platform. And obviously, we're here to support you, helping you scale your business. Ahmed, anything else before we finish?
No, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for joining the live, spending an hour and 20 minutes with us, asking questions, and massive respect to everyone, and to you, Thomas, for coming live.
No, I appreciate it. And thank you. And again, I'll just reiterate exactly what Ahmed said. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Your attention is the most important thing, and hopefully we've added some value. If we have, hit the like button, give us a comment down below, just tell us what you liked, and obviously we can do this again. If you want us to go live more often, sharing value like this, some of the training that we're doing in the War Room, let us know, and we will do that for you. But for myself, Ahmed, and everyone else who is part of the Amazon FBA War Room on the school community, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. Keep scaling your business, and I can't wait to hear the success stories in Q4.
Bye-bye.